they've got a lot of experience. They've been there, they've done it, we need to listen to them. I used to love to, I enjoyed that with any one of them, Jimmy, or Herman, or Charles, if we go off somewhere singing, but especially Herman. He was 80-something years old, but just to listen to him talk. If you met him, don't say much, get him off and he'll talk. And he could tell you things that would benefit you. Today, the Mother's Day, I think about my grandmother and how she would talk. And she was a conversationalist. She could talk. And she could tell you something that benefits you. What I liked about her, she could talk, she could listen to you. But you don't find many people nowadays that can sit down and have a normal conversation. A lot of people can't talk. They run their mouth and don't say nothing. But she was a conversationalist and a good one. Proverbs 22:6 says, train up a child in the way he should go, and he's old and not depart from it. I was raised right. Ain't a doubt in my mind. I got off and got into things I didn't have no business being in, but I always knew. Talk about conscience this morning, and I always knew right from wrong. And praise God, I got back where I need to be. Train up a child in the way he should go, so it's not going to depart from it. And we're going to what's wrong with America today. Maybe it's the way we're training our children. This would be a major problem. Are we taking time, moms and dads, to train our children, teaching them what's right and what's wrong? We can do our best, and they'll go on their way, but and children will follow footsteps a lot better than they'll follow advice. What kind of path did you follow? What kind of example are you setting? If the example that you follow is bad, you need to break the mold, you need to make a change. I can remember, like I say, Daddy always being gone. And I found myself running the very same roads that he was on up and down, and my family sitting right here in Broxton, right by herself. And I said, this is not right. And I can remember Sarah sitting on my desk, a little bitty girl, and we prayed that morning, me and her, that I'd find a job in Douglas, and I could be home, and the lady prayed with me on the telephone to be in church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. Went right over there, actually with him, and called John, put me to work, and so y'all know the rest of it. It's amazing what God can do when we put him first. But we need to follow Christ and obey God, set a new example, a good one, a godly one. You ever heard the saying, like father, like son? If the old Cameron was here and his daddy, they're farmers. I see a smile already. It's just that big one and little one. But he's following his footsteps, and his farming, I hope you'll follow that example. There's another thing, maybe not. Like father, like son. You ever heard this before? Like mother, like children. I never heard that till I got looking at it this morning. Like mother, like children. Children used to say, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. And they'd say, thank you, please. What do we hear today? Yeah, no, hon, what? Are we raising our children like they need to be raised? What's wrong with family time? And what's wrong with quality time? And what's wrong with quantity time? Take time for your children. You say I'm wrong, I don't have any family. That's besides the point. Children, people are still watching. Back to mothers. Right down the road the other day, and I got thinking about this. Think about a world. Let your mind kind of wander here for just a minute. Think about a world without flowers. And a world without singing, and a world without music. Think about a world with no smiles, no laughter, no sunshine. Think about a world with no blue skies, no birds, no green grass, no rivers or lakes. Think about a world with no love. Think about a world with no children and no babies. It'd be like a world without mothers. Today's Mother's Day, and we're here to honor mothers. They're godly mothers. And there's grand and great grandmothers. I understand due to the fact that the ones I have what grand is all about. And there's single mothers. Things happen. And there's unwed mothers. Things happen. There's working mothers, and there's good mothers, and we're afraid of the unfit mothers. And there's mother-in-laws, stepmothers, and adoptive mothers. And I even thought about this surrogate mothers. I never sit around and think about that, but some of them the right reasons. And foster parents, if there's a foster parents, there's got to be a foster mother, and praise God for those that are in it for the right reasons. In my lifetime, over the past years, I've come in contact with some of these, and that some I knew was in for the right reason. I praise God for foster parents. Think about all these different mothers today, young mothers, middle-aged mothers, and old mothers. We can't make it without you. We're here today to honor you. God bless our mothers. Also, expecting mothers. The girl I work with, I know they've had a time and just nothing ever worked out, but right here all of a sudden it all comes together and she's expecting. When I left Friday, I said, I hope that you have a great Mother's Day weekend. And she just smiled. She said, got one on the way. I thought about Mr. Darwin when I thought about a bumper sticker that I read somewhere. It was his idea of evolution. I'm going to list his boldly on that already in verse 2. That bumper sticker said, if evolution was true, why could mothers have only 2 arms? Let that sink in. It makes sense now. If evolution was true, why do mothers have only 2 arms? Mothers. We're here to honor the mothers today. My mom was here. I love her. Thank the Lord. She's a mother. My sisters are here today. Both of them are mothers. My wife worked 24 hours. She's home in the bed. She's a mother of my children. And all of my children are mothers. Andrea and Lorraine and Dana. But you say Dana don't have any children. But she's raised another. And little Melanie is just like her. She's just like home. When we do something, she's part of it. And she's supposed to get married at the end of this year, and they say they won't have 5 children. So, anyway, she has been the mother hen of our family. She takes care of everybody. Little Sarah's expecting one, got little Gabriel there. And my granddaughter, Rebecca, she's a mother, and got a little great-grandson. Well, I honor all these this morning. Paul to Timothy in 2 Timothy 1:5 says, when I call for remembrance, the unfeigned faith, that is in thee, which dwelt first in thy grandmother Lois and thy mother Eunice, and I am persuaded that in thee also. I see a good pattern here. Acts 16:1, we don't know about his father, but there was his grandmother and his mother, and now Timothy. Praise God for godly grandmothers and mothers. Pass it on down. We can't pass down salvation, but we can pass down an example. They can see the Christ is alive in our lives. What are you passing down? Just think about it. Young moms, don't pass up the greatest opportunity, and that's to instill the Word of God in your children. They need it. A little advice in closing. For the young mothers, get involved with Jesus. Get active in church early. And middle-aged mothers, little advice. Get involved with Jesus and get active in church. It's too late. Older mothers, little advice. Get involved with Jesus. That sounds like a broken record. I'll try to tell you something. Get involved with Jesus. Get active in church. It still ain't too late. And all mothers, pray for your children. If you don't do nothing else, pray for your children. I say happy Mother's Day this morning. Could be one in here this morning that's lost. What does a lost mother have to do to get saved? Just like anybody else. Repent of your sins, call upon the name of Jesus, believe on Him, pray the prayer of repentance and be saved. You can do it today. I'm going to give you the opportunity right now to tell me about you. If you'll notice here, you will say anything, you say it. But it's your opportunity right now to praise God for your life. Anybody?
Yes. Well, I've learned in my life, and I know a lot of people in here have probably done the same, and I'm not just saying it for myself. I know you probably experienced it too, where you may have not always done your mother like you're supposed to, and you may not have treated her exactly how God wanted you to, but you knew when you were calm and in your right mind, and you knew that when you got right with Lord, you said, well, you know what, Lord? You got 2 people to thank for being alive, your mom and the Lord. And you know, but then again, the Lord came first, and He gave you your mother. So if you can't honor either one, then you really just life out there. So we just gotta say that, you know, like I know in my life, there's a lot of times in my life it wasn't for my mom and the Lord, I'd been probably 6 feet under, you know, or either in jail. Said I know that they said, nope, you got something you got to do, and we want you to do it. Well, I know how it feels.
And I saw yesterday, my mom is, and he's given one week back, he says, one of them dead. And then y'all heard me, church folks heard me many, many times, say, praise God for praying grandmothers and mamas. Praise John.
But I just have to say, I'm like, I don't know, I clear through a lot over the years. I had a chance to go out and visit with her this morning. She was kind of kept coming with me when she had another engagement, that one down to Lisa and Troy's. Kind of sad time for Lisa. Laura was graduated this year, I think. Child had passed away, but she had that prior engagement, but she's always put us first. I just thank the Lord.
Anybody else, it's your opportunity this morning.
I grew up in a way that I guess it was just taking things for granted. I figured every mother was always up before the sun came up and had breakfast on the table when she woke you up. I figured every mother was always right there when you fell down and got hurt to keep you up and dust you off and make sure you were okay. I figured there was never not anybody had a mother. They always had somebody to run to when they had a problem. I had them on the back and everything was okay. And I grew up because that's what I had. And I always had them until she passed away. And you grow up and you have children of your own. You learn what a parent goes through. I make mention of it in '87. I broke my neck, broke my shoulder blade, my collarbone, broke ribs, broke your bone. Most people don't know when I say that is 3 days later, my brother Mark got hit by a truck. And I was in the hospital in Jacksonville, Florida, and he was in the hospital up in Augusta. Well, just prior to me having my accident, my sister Pam had an accident and almost had her arm cut off, so she'd been in the hospital up in Houston. Just a few weeks before that, my brother Lane had an accident, and then he'd already had a leg messed up, and it messed up his whole hip, and then he had to have his whole leg rebuilt. So during that summer, from the last of July through September 14th, Mom and Dad were just running the roads. I mean, and it was an amazing thing in a way. We all survived. But the one thing I learned from my mother out of all that was even though she was running ragged, the greatest gift she gave to me was putting out some God's hand, trusting God to take care of us. She knew He would. And she always, and today, though both my parents are gone, all of my brothers and sisters are here. All of us are still alive, and I know that's what she prayed for. Other than, you know, before each of her children passed, they would accept Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. And I thank God that she passed on to me to have faith, to put my children in God's hands and trust Him to take care of them where I could not. And I thank God for it.
Always up early, and indeed, I don't remember ever waking up and no breakfast being there. Never went to school early, and never went to bed hungry. And I praise God. Mama and Mom. Any others? There's a lot of people here this morning, we got time.
I just like to thank you for never giving up on me. Being my mother and my father. My father passed away. So I was believing in him.
Anybody else?
I can't sit here because I don't have my grandma here. But, excuse me. One thing that my mother don't learn from my grandmother and mom, my great-grandmother, his grandmother. And I'm trusting Dory. I'm trusting Dory Joshua with unconditional love, no matter what.